Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is bringing you more this holiday season, finishing the year with big savings on the entire model lineup during the Wrap Up the Year sales event. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on a 2024 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Laramie 4x4 for qualified buyers. Explore all our year-end lease and finance deals at WoodhouseCDJRBellevue.com or WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com. This is Woodhouse. With approved credit, tax title license extra. When financed with Chrysler Capital, $299 doc fee to its signing. Stock number BC240134. Offer expires 12/31/2023. See dealer for details. All aboard for your chance to win $1,000 every week until December 28th. That's right, $1,000 cash just in time for the holidays. To hop on board, just head to ChurchillMortgage.com and punch your ticket to the Churchill Express giveaway. Visit ChurchillMortgage.com for your chance to win big.
This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.
Hi, this is Lori Johnson with Hancock Whitney Bank, and you're listening to Local Leaders, the podcast. Visit localleadersthepodcast.com for previous episodes or for information on appearing on the show.
So it's hot out there in South Louisiana, and the first thing people think about is, man, I wish I had a pool, if they don't already have one, that I can jump into and cool off. That is why this podcast is such a big deal. Across from me, I have Matt Poirier of Blue Wave Pools. So first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
We are fired up to talk to you today. And before we even get into all the great things about Blue Wave Pools, I want to tell you that we had quite the response. I sent out an email to my MailChimp folks. And if you're not on the MailChimp yet, hit me up. I'll put you on there. And I asked for questions on, pools of any type and, any questions they may have if they're debating wanting to get a pool. I got like a ton of responses. So we're going to talk about all that. But first, we want to talk about you. Lifelong Livingston Parish guy?
Yes, sir. Grew up here.
Yeah.
My family's from here.
Yeah.
Graduated from Denham Springs in 96.
Go Jackets. I got a yellow jacket on my wall right there that,
Awesome.
that people cannot see during this podcast, but trust me, it's there.
That's right.
So go Jackets.
No, I wanted to raise my kids here, and then
Yes.
this is where I'm making my life.
Very good. Very good. And you played in the band in high school. You're a band guy?
That's right. Played saxophone under Burroughs there. Had some
Yes.
good years.
Mr. Burroughs is a good guy.
Yep, got to see every football game from 6th grade all the way through.
That's it. Didn't have to buy a ticket.
Didn't have to buy one. That's right.
Very good. So you got out of that, you graduated and moved on in life. I know you were a salesperson for AT&T.
I did. I started life with AT&T. Overall spent about 12 years there.
Wow.
I got to do a lot of cool things for them. Started out in sales, ended up outside, did a lot of restoration work after Katrina in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Eventually made my way back to Baton Rouge and landed in the engineering department there.
Wow.
And just, we'll talk about it a little later, but growing up in construction, a lot of times those two fields don't overlap. So when they figured out that I had some construction experience, they landed me in a program called Road Move, which is if they're going to build a brand new road somewhere, you got to coordinate with the other utilities and the government and everything else and make all that happen. So
absolutely.
That's where I ended up my time there. And when it was time to leave and begin Blue Wave Pools, that's where I exited from.
That's it. And you were kind of no stranger to the pool business. You're second generation really pool guy, right?
That's right. So Dad started a company called Sunshine Pools. It's actually still in operation here in Denham Springs now. He began that company back in '83.
Okay.
When he built his store on Florida Boulevard, it was actually the first building that had to be raised after the '83 flood. So of all the buildings,
really?
We have some newspaper clippings that show it just built up on a mound of dirt. And, of course, now lots of things are built that way at elevation. But, no, so his store was there. That was my growing up, retail swimming pools, building vinyl liner swimming pools.
Yeah.
He transitioned from that and got into home building. He was a general contractor for 10 years. Actually, about the same time frame that Livingston instituted their inspection process. So kind of went from the Wild West to this is how you're supposed to do things. This is how the process is supposed to be done. And so he was right there in that when all that was taking place.
Right in the thick of things.
That's right. So, my childhood was building things and construction, whether it be pools or houses. So when it was time, when I'd had enough of corporate life and it was time for me to go do my thing, I kind of leaned on what I knew how to do and looked around at the things I knew how to build, and swimming pools kind of spoke to me. I like it.
Yeah, it's in your blood, really, and probably had a lot of Legos and stuff like that when you were a youngster.
Tons of them. I think my two toys that I remember playing with were either Legos or Hot Wheels.
Yeah, there you go. I like the Hot Wheels myself, and so you kind of jumped off into what is Blue Wave Pools. And y'all, when I tell you, well, first of all, you probably noticed the guy's got a great voice for podcasting. It's just perfect for what we do, which makes my job easy. But another thing we do is a lot of research. So when I was researching your company and what you do, I was really surprised at what I didn't know. When I think of a pool, I think of, a square pool, 8 feet deep or however deep. What is great about your companies is the customization that you offer. For example, I told him, I said, so if I wanted a pool and I wanted it to be in the shape of a podcast microphone, you can make that happen. He's like, yeah, we can make it happen. I'm like, man, that's great. That's great. Right here in Livingston Parish, we're not in LA, where this is probably much more common. So to be able to have a custom pool builder right here in Livingston Parish is a good thing. I guess my first question, and something that I would find interesting, and some of this, y'all, we didn't talk about ahead of time, but that first job that you got when you were Blue Wave Pools, of course, you had it in the blood. You'd seen it done. You had people to lean on to ask questions. But how did that go for you? Was that surprisingly well, or was that I'm earning my stripes here and everything that could go wrong did? No,
it went great. The customer, gentleman by the name of Mr. Bob Chedville, one of my favorite clients I've ever had. We still speak often. Was building a new construction home and wanted to have a swimming pool built and called me over there. And from the engineering days, I know how to do CAD, I know how to design, so I do all my own design, which is something most builders don't do. Yeah. So I went there with Mr. Bob, drew his house, drew the pool he wanted, and it was perfect. But he wanted this recessed seating in a certain space, and just from being around construction, I'm like, it's not going to work. You're going to have ongoing issues. It's going to, it's going to be a problem. You're going to hate this thing. Oh no, Mr. Matt, I think I really want that. And for being very young in the business, but knowing like this is going to be a problem, Mr. Bob and I talked about that for 2 weeks. Right. And finally, I got through to him and explained. And what finally made it work is he was going to have to do a handrail, and the handrail was going to block the view of the television. Now, years later, we'll sit down and talk about it. He's like, you know what? You were right. I was like, I'm glad you see it that way, because it's been, but or even early on, I wasn't new to construction. It was just, this is what we're building today. Yeah. So it helped solve a lot of those early, don't know quite what you're doing problems, because you've been doing this for 20 years already.
That's right. And something that you said in that story that appealed to me is you weren't scared to tell him, I don't think this is going to work. I think too often in the construction industry, people want to please customers to the point that when they know something shouldn't be done, they just kind of do it anyway, because they don't want, if it goes bad, the customer wanted it, right? But look, for someone that was their first big job on their own, that was pretty cool that you were able to summon up the whatever it took to do that.
Yeah, my job is to build, the client's pool. If I show up there and, Matt, this is what I want, if I don't love it, I don't have to love it. I've got to build a quality product. But a lot of times when I come out there, people have an idea of what they want, and maybe it's not what I would have drawn if they didn't show me anything. So what I'll do, and this is where being able to draw on the fly comes in handy, is I'll draw their design to a T. This is exactly what you told me you wanted. This is exactly what it's going to look like. And then I'll say, this is design one. Yeah. This is what we can build. While I'm here, let me draw you what I would have drawn if you hadn't told me anything. Right. And then I'll draw maybe what I see happening there. And oftentimes, hey, we like that, or we're kind of combining the features of the two of them. But people have an idea, but until they see it in their backyard, it's different. Yeah. So being able to see, this is the result of all those ideas. this is design one, and this is maybe built a few of these things. This is how I would lay it out. This is design two.
Yeah.
It helps people come to a conclusion.
I love that because you're giving them options and you're showing them different ways to accomplish something. Because really what you're doing when you sit down with these people is they've got a vision of what they want, and you're pulling that out and you're putting it essentially on paper and saying, here's your vision on paper. But you're also giving them a little bit more suggestion because they're not in the industry. They may not realize the options that they can do that maybe they haven't thought of. So that's always great.
It's good. And a lot of times I try to, I meet mom, I meet dad, we sit down, we talk about it. Everybody wants a certain thing from the pool.
Yeah.
Somebody wants a bench in a certain spot. Somebody wants a place to lay out. And it's my job to kind of talk my way through the pool, talk to them, hear what they're wanting. And the greatest thing I can hear is when I'm done with a design, oh, I love that. That's exactly what I thought it should look like. I've done my job well.
Yeah, man. And you kind of light up when you talk about it. And it's a blessing to have any job where it's tangible, that you can look at it after it's done and say, I did that. I built that. Even if it's for somebody else, you did that, and you can look at it and take pride in it, which is, if you're in sales and you're selling advertising or something, that's kind of hard to do sometimes. So that's a total blessing. Now, in the pool business, one of the, I don't know if I call it a misconception, but one of the things that people may not be aware of is the expense of pools can be controlled in a lot of ways. There's additions that you can make that would raise the cost of a pool, but there's things you can leave off that will actually lower the cost of a pool. One thing I really like about Blue Wave when we were talking was you're very transparent on things, and you do get with the customer and kind of go over everything that can be involved in that pool building process, from LED lighting, for example. People get quotes, whether it's pools, whether it's paint, whatever they're doing, they're getting quotes from people and they're comparing them. And I'm a big proponent of make sure you're comparing apples to apples, right? You basically break that down with the customer because you meet with them at their house. I mean, you go to them. It's very convenient for you.
That's right. And
or for them rather.
Yep. And I'm a spreadsheet guy. So as we sit down and draw this pool, we're checking off boxes and, number of lights or number of water features or included equipment. That's all got to get listed out because that makes you said tangible, but it makes a very tangible difference in the bottom line of what's included.
Absolutely.
And it's very easy to just not mention something. Hey, well, we didn't talk about salt, so your pool doesn't have a salt chlorine cell, or we didn't talk about a pool cleaner, so it's not included in the price. So it's easy to kind of hide those things, but you're going to want that. And the worst thing is we're done. There's water in the pool. Well, do I need a pool cleaner? Oh yeah, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
Well, how do I control this thing? Well, there's an app I can sell you. Well, that's $1,000. That's not fair to come on the tail end. So we try to list everything.
Love that.
These are all the things people like. This is kind of the list, and most of my pools have a pretty standard package because you're not going to spend 98% and not get the final few things that make this thing a really enjoyable pool.
Sure, I love that. And all the things that go with the pool, slides, for example, no problem for you guys?
No, we install slides. They have a couple different pretty standard models. Some have a double twist, some have a single twist. Most popular would be feature walls because a feature wall is kind of a dual. You can get a water feature out of it. It gives you a place if you wanted to put some fire bowls on each end of it. And it's also a jumping off platform. So kiddos can get on top of the wall and jump.
Kiddos?
Oh yeah.
What about 48-year-old podcasts?
We can do that too. I was going to say on some of our walls,
we'll totally do that.
if we have smaller kids, we'll even build a step on the back of the wall. But I'm right there with you. I'm going to be 45 this year.
Cannonball.
So I might have a step too.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But that's what I really like. You mentioned the design aspect, and I want to go into that a little bit because that is a separator for your company. That's something that you don't have to deal with. I don't know, maybe an architect and then you, and then look, Matt at Blue Wave Pools, they can start the design process and they do that in-house. It's not something they're farming out to an architect, for example, although they'll work with architects. I'm sure if there's any out there looking for a good pool guy, to build a pool.
Yeah,
Matt's all about it.
And people have brought me plans. Hey, this is what my architect drew up. Now we're ready to design the pool. I'm doing one right now where it's a multifaceted project where it's going to have a pool, it's going to have an outdoor kitchen, it's going to have an outbuilding with a plunge pool and a sauna built into it.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
That's something you might would bring to a landscape architect to kind of lay it all out. But it's something I can also do.
Yeah.
Especially with
That's
that 3D
huge.
modeling, it really helps.
Yeah, it does. And he just mentioned it, 3D modeling, which gives you, I guess, like a 360-degree view maybe of that design.
Not just 360, but you're imagine playing a video game where you're inside the world. It's exactly that. So when I show up, we talk a little bit, and I'll measure the house and I'll measure the yard. And then in about 5 or 10 minutes, I can draw the house to scale. I can draw the yard to scale. And then we go inside that world and walk around just like a video game.
Oh, wow.
So we can back out of that 3D world. We can draw the pool. We can jump back into 3D. You can get in the pool. You can walk around the pool.
Yeah.
You can see how the lights are going to shine. You can hear the water features. Like it really is like building a 3D world of your house and your swimming pool.
Gotta love technology. That's
fun.
awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about financing for a second, because that's a legitimate concern of people is what it will, and look, you can't, without Matt going to your house and really seeing what you're wanting and the size and the depth and all those sorts of things. Of course, pools go in a variety of costs, I'm sure, from one end of the spectrum to the other. But all of that being said, he can sure meet with you and cover any options as far as financing is concerned. You work with partners who do financing, correct, for pools?
That's right. You've got some, I guess that you would call standard options, maybe a HELOC or a home equity loan. Most people use a company that specializes in swimming pool financing. One of the most popular is a company called Lyon Financial.
Yeah.
And it's LYON. So LYON Financial. Another is HFS. They're really popular.
Yeah.
And then probably the third, not as much, but still out there, is a company called Lightstream.
Awesome.
But those three companies are, they specialize in swimming pool financing. Call them up. Hey, I'm getting ready to do a pool. I'm going to borrow about this much. They can do a soft pool, kind of let you know what your terms and everything would be, and give you some good information.
Yeah, and the rates are actually very reasonable, at least in the research I've done for pools.
They are.
It's not what you think. It's not like a credit card rate or anything like that.
I think Lion is advertising 5.9 over 20 years right now.
Yeah, that's cheap. And also why it's so important to make sure when you have like additions and things like that, anything that you want to get, I don't know if you term it extra, but extra with a pool, you want to put as much of that into that 20-year note as you can if you're going with a 20-year loan from one of those companies. You don't want to find it out after when your neighbor gets a pool and you're like, wait a minute, I wanted those things that spray out all over the place. And what do you call those, by the way? Sprayers?
The deck jets.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is you really don't want to add those after the fact because they're part of the construction part of it. They're in the concrete. So you can't come back 3 years later and add those.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why it's so important to get with someone like you that is just because I wouldn't have done that. And most people don't. If you're not in the pool world, you don't know. And Matt's an expert. He's not going to let you, if there's anything you need, I'm sure you're going to be like, you may want to consider this. It's not going to add that much and you kind of need it.
But, I just had that talk with a client. We just wrapped up their pool. We put water in it last week. And like I said, the two main water features that I see people do are bubblers and the tanning ledge, the little shallow area, and then deck jets along the pool. And, she just, Matt, I don't think I'm going to like those deck jets. And I said, look, they don't cost that much. Let me put them in there.
Yeah.
And when the pool is done, if you hate them, I won't charge you for them. But I hate for you to build this thing, and they're just not that expensive.
Yeah.
I built the pool, turned it all on, turned them on. It's her favorite thing on the whole pool.
Yep.
The noise they make, they help keep the water cooler. She's like, I apprate that.
You were right.
I was like, and look, everybody loves hearing that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now let's talk about Gunite. Mm-hmm. And that is the pool that you specialize in, which is a great thing because my limited knowledge of pools, I know that Gunite is legit. That is the cream of the crop in a lot of cases. So first, let's explain to people that don't even know what Gunite is.
All right, so a Gunite swimming pool is closest to construction. It's not really a kit.
Yeah.
I guess if you want to go into the different types of pools, kind of what's out there.
It might be a good idea just for people that don't know.
So the three main types of pools that you'll see out there, you'll see the vinyl liner pool. That's what I grew up around. It's sold as a kit. They have, you dig your hole, you put your walls in. There's a rubber liner that goes in there, and that's your pool. Generally going to find that as the least expensive way to go swimming.
Is that the one that you have to replace?
That's right. That's right. You're going to change that liner every 5 to 7 years.
Oh, wow.
You generally won't see a lot of the features that would go with a gunite pool on a vinyl liner pool. It has its place in the market for a reason.
Yeah.
Like I said, it is the least expensive way to go swimming.
Sure.
After you get past the vinyl liner pool, your two other options are going to be fiberglass or gunite.
Yeah.
Now, pre-COVID, fiberglass had a place in the market between vinyl liner and gunite, where you could get a fiberglass pool a little cheaper than a gunite pool. And, they come in with a shell, they use the crane, kind of pick it up over the house, put it in the backyard, and that's the pool. Here in South Louisiana, the big problem with fiberglass pools is our groundwater. Fiberglass pools float.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful with the installation, and it's most of them go great, some of them don't.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, fiberglass pricing has had a pretty big increase. That gunite has had some increase, but not nearly as much, because gunite is, like I said, more pure construction. It's concrete and steel and stone.
Yeah.
It's not a kit.
Yeah.
So moving on to gunite construction, gunite, when I come and sit down with you, if we measure your house and, the bench needs to be in a certain spot, or if you have a disability and need the stairs a certain way, or you're a little taller and you want the pool a little deeper. I built a pool for a gentleman. He does a therapy where he puts a float around his shoulders and he hangs weights off his ankles, and it helps him decompress his spine. And so we have a spot in the pool that's just a little bit deeper for him to do that.
Yeah.
And you can do that. Again, there's no kit. It's exactly what you need. And a gunite pool, the shell, you get a lifetime warranty with the way that we do it. You get to pick out the stone that goes around the pool. You get to pick out the tile that goes around the pool. You get to pick out the plaster color, which changes the water color.
Wow.
So it's a very custom, very detailed project.
Pretty awesome. And the reputation, I did do some research on gunite pools after we met, and the reputation is stellar on them. I mean, that is the kind of the go-to pool, if you will. Now, I mentioned questions earlier, and I want to ask you some of those. Thank you so much for listeners and viewers who turned those in. We had a huge response, y'all. And some of these we've kind of answered as we talk. Some of them, we want to get into. So one of them that was really good was, how long does the pool construction process typically take?
So I bonus my guys if we finish the pool in 6 weeks or less.
Yeah, smart.
Generally, with South Louisiana weather, it takes 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Occasionally when we have those rainstorms that just move in, and I think a couple of years ago it rained for 50 days straight. And that's just we do.
Good old Louisiana weather.
That's right.
Yeah.
But typically, I tell people 6 to 8 weeks with a bonus if we get it done in 6 weeks.
And that's pretty. That is so much quicker than I thought before you and I met, because I was thinking that was at least a 3-month process. So another thing that probably most people that aren't in the business would just assume that's 90 days. I mean, heck, I can't get a plumber to my house within 6 weeks.
Right. And some builders, work on different schedules. We build between 50 and 60 pools a year.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to let projects drag on. We're trying to get in there and get it built. And because it's a constant construction, it's a workflow.
Yeah.
I don't, let's say when we're halfway through construction, I don't need to call the concrete guy and get on his schedule. It's, where are we pouring concrete this week, Mr. Matt? We're pouring here. We're pouring here.
Right.
Tile and coping. Where are we going next? Where are we going next? So what helps is the amount of pools that we build. It keeps a workflow steady instead of having to jump on somebody's list and, okay, we'll be there in 4 or 5 weeks, and there's this giant downtime. So
yeah, great point. Yeah, and it's you've been doing it long enough now. I mean, 8 years, almost a decade into this stuff, and so you've got like almost a system that is you can rely on, right?
Oh, yeah. And that's something I learned back at AT&T and really earlier than that, working with Dad, is everything's got to have a flow. You got to have a worksheet. So, he kind of laughed when I first got into it. doing these pools, I set up boards on the wall because that's how he did it.
Yeah.
And I spent a couple of years of boards on the wall. So, there's a better way to do this. So we've now transitioned all to sheets. Everything's online. All my vendors and subs can see the sheets and see where they're going next. So, just me learning and efficiency is always important to me. So that's something
huge in your line of work. I mean, any construction type business, the quicker you're in and out, you can lose a lot of money as a construction guy if you get stuck on a job. So I promise y'all, nobody wants to finish it faster than Matt.
That's right.
As far as that goes, warranties. Let's talk about that for a second. So, what is the deal with warranties?
You've got a couple of different warranties with a pool. The first is the gunite shell, and it has to be done to a certain thickness with the rebar done a certain way.
Yeah.
But you get a lifetime warranty as the homeowner of the gunite shell.
Wow.
The next warranty is going to be your plaster warranty. Now, there's two types of plaster out there. One that we don't use, that you'll get a 1-year warranty, and after that, you hope for the best.
Oh, wow.
The plaster that we use, you get a 10-year warranty. And the manufacturer suggests a 15-year life on that product. We put it on a little thicker, and we estimate up to a 17 to 20-year life on that product, just because of the thickness that we put it on.
Yeah, and look, a huge thing, because I like how you just said, there's one type of plaster that we don't even offer, because if the warranty's not long, then that usually is an indication of something. And
right.
So,
you don't want to build this pool and 5 years later be okay, it's time to replaster. Like, that's, enjoy this thing for a couple decades.
That's right. That's right. And another thing you mentioned in the realm of pools is that you have kind of a network of people you deal with. And one of the listeners actually asked, do you provide like maintenance on pools? And while you may not do that personally, you have people that you do refer.
I do. And I'll give them a shout out. Brennan Acord with BA Pools.
There you go. Brennan?
So Brennan is our local Pentair warranty tech. So we're talking about warranties, and I had a couple more to put on there.
Sure.
I use typically all Pentair equipment. And the reason is, one, their quality is of the highest order. Their technology is the best, and their warranty process. Everybody hates, you got a great warranty. Fill out this card and email it, and we'll get back to you in a couple of weeks with an answer. Or you call an 800 number, and somebody in Massachusetts answers the phone, and now you got to explain your problem. And there's none of that with Pentair.
Right.
With a Pentair problem, let's say I have a light that goes out. My warranty process is I call Brennan. Brennan, we have a customer at this address. His light's going out. I need you to take care of it. Brennan contacts the customer. He contacts Pentair. He goes out and changes the light very quickly, and that's the end of it. No emails, no 800 numbers or anything. So it makes my life so much easier. Brennan's always clutch when it comes to taking care of those things. So definitely earned a shout out there.
Absolutely. Very good. Well, good job. And look, a huge thing when you have a network of people that you can turn to in situations like that. Let's talk about permits for a second. So anytime, you talked about it earlier, it used to be kind of the Wild West, and we could do what we wanted. We want to dig a hole in the backyard, no problem. Nowadays, everybody's looking over their fence and want to know if you got a permit.
That's right.
So customers, from their perspective, this person actually reached out and said, who handles that process? Do I as the homeowner, or do you as the pool builder?
So I handle that process, and every municipality has different requirements. They all, of course, want me to be state licensed and insured, which we are. Some people are going to want different information on the drawing. Some people want additional permits to go through it. But that's my job. Once we sign an agreement, I hand that off to Miss Paula. She gets with either Livingston or East Baton Rouge Parish, whatever parish we're working in, and gets all those permits. Central, we're doing a bunch of those right now in Central. So
really, very good.
Yeah, so we'll get that process done, and it makes it simple. But what's nice about, instead of the homeowner having to do it, the builder do it, you build a relationship with these permitting departments, and they know you, and you get to know the inspectors, and he gets to know, the quality of your work. So we know Matt, we know what he does. We had one we did in City of Denham Springs, and great people to deal with there. But
I know a lot of those guys. Yeah.
So we
had them on the show.
We sent the drawing in, and the inspector came back and says, "This pool's not going to fit." I was like, "Yeah, it's going to fit. It's all drawn perfectly. I know it's going to fit." "No, I don't think it's going to fit." Well, the drawings from another builder had gotten mixed up with mine. And the lady at the desk is like, this doesn't look like your drawings. Like your drawings are pretty exact. This is more the back of the napkin drawing. I was like, okay, we kind of figured out what happened.
Very good.
But when you start working with these people, you get to know each other and you build
That's
a
right.
relationship.
That's right. And I'm glad you just mentioned that, Matt, because one of the questions that I would have, I guess, would be, is there a limitation to the size of a pool? Is there, and obviously you're limited by your property. I mean, of course, but is there too small of a pool? Or what if somebody just wants like I don't know, like something they can step in and almost reach out and touch both sides of it.
And that's what's great about Gunite. It's exactly what fits you.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm finishing up a pool that's nearly 1,000 square feet in Clinton.
Yeah.
And great big pool, great big spa. They've got a big piece of property, and that's what they wanted for them and their family.
Yeah.
I'm finishing up another pool in St. Francisville that's 180 square feet. It's Papa and Mama wanted a pool. They wanted the grandkids to come get in. The yard was smaller. It's more of a not a townhouse, but I guess just a smaller yard kind of setup. And that's so it's what fits you, and and that's what makes it nice with that 3D is we can see how it's going to feel. We can measure distances between the pool and the house and make sure it works. But there's no restriction on size.
Wow, very good. And another advantage, obviously, to using you is your customization that you can do. You're not someone showing up at their house, for example, meeting with them and saying, okay, we can do this square pool or we can do this rectangle pool and give them 5 or 6 options. And it's not about the homeowner. That was something that appealed to me a lot when we first met. As far as that goes. Now, let's talk about some of your community affiliations. So you're a member of the Livingston Parish Chamber of Commerce, very active in there. Saw y'all at the gala. And,
that was a great time.
Yeah.
We're definitely part of that. Enjoy mixing up with all that and appreciating that. One thing, and we kind of talked about it before, is one thing that Blue Wave has allowed me to do is kind of plug back in different places. We've been able to support Launch. They do a wonderful program.
Yes, good people over there.
We got involved with the breast cancer awareness.
Yes.
I believe is in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
So we opened up with living here and growing up here, and that's one thing that's always been important to me. Denham Springs, Livingston Parish, growing up here, 80s, 90s, 2000s, it always felt like home. I've lived in other places. I've spent some time in Tennessee, spent some time in Baton Rouge, and coming home was always important.
Yeah.
And the older I've gotten, my kids are in school now. I want to see the schools do well.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of, I like staying plugged in and being part of the community.
And we love it as well. And one thing that I, a dream for me for this parish one day would be that it's not what people would consider a bedroom community, that they not only live here, but they work here and they play here and they don't go into other parishes. Not that I have anything against other parishes, but you've been here forever, and at one time it was a bedroom community. It's where you went to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
You spent your money in Baton Rouge, and all these things, and we love Baton Rouge. But
at the time, growing up here, I think there were 2 restaurants on Range Avenue. Yeah. You had a seafood restaurant and you had like the buffet, and if you didn't go there, you had to go
Bass
somewhere
Pro.
else. No Bass Pro, no. I think there maybe was one Mexican restaurant there at the time.
Yeah, Maria's might have been the only one really around there. I think
Yeah.
there was another one. Yeah,
No, Maria's is the one I was thinking of, but none of the you can't go 100 yards without there's another great place to eat.
That's right. That's right. And it's a beautiful thing, and I love it because you always can tell, in my opinion, a business that does good work in business when they do good work in their community. And that's something that y'all do. You place value in it, and it's important. It's important. And one of the reasons that I started this show was I thought it was important for people to see what our small business owners are doing outside of business. Because usually how you're handling your business outside of your business is how you're handling your business inside of it. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, definitely.
Yeah. And so let's get back to pools and
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Now I'm going to preface this with something else, and y'all might be like, oh, this is appealing. He don't just do pools. So you also do like outdoor spaces. Big deal right now.
Oh, yeah.
With all that.
Pretty much once you walk out the back door, anything that you might want out there is something we can handle. Whether it's outdoor kitchens, pools, we've done, pavilions. I mentioned earlier structures that would have the plunge pool and the sauna.
Yeah.
Those things are popular.
Yeah.
But I would say, outdoor kitchens are huge. They're now what the media room was in the 2000s. Everybody's got an outdoor kitchen.
Yeah.
We've got a great couple places here in town to go get your supplies from. And what's nice about building the kitchen when we do a pool is we can bring a lot of the same materials that we use on the pool. I mentioned some of that stone, some of that tile, and use those same materials on the kitchen, so it's very homogeneous. It feels like it's all designed together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a huge thing, and I'll tell you a quick story. Look, we're South Louisiana folks here. I got a friend, and I know she watches this podcast. Her name's Lori Johnson. So Lori likes to have, I won't say she likes to have parties because that sounds funny. Like all she does is parties. She's probably dying laughing right now. But she lives in a neighborhood where everybody around her in this neighborhood, they're all like really tight. And look, if it's Saturday night, they're probably at Lori's house. They've got TVs outside. They've got all these things going on. And that really, to me, is South Louisiana. And those outdoor spaces are a big deal. And you can make that happen. And a lot of these houses around here after the flood, they might have been older houses. Say they were built in the late 70s. But hey, they updated them after the flood. Everybody got the recessed lighting and scraped the ceilings and did, I had 6 feet in my house and I scraped ceilings. I had popcorn up there before that. And now my house is updated. I never would have updated it in that sort of speed, any other way unless I was forced. But the point I'm getting at is back then outdoor kitchens weren't a thing. Now they are. So all those houses that are updated everywhere except for that outdoor kitchen area, we got someone here that can make that happen. And what about like screened in patios, stuff like that?
So that kind of leads, I don't do screened in-house, but once you walk outside, if I don't do it in-house, I'm going to have somebody that's vetted that I would use personally that I can refer to.
Yeah. Yeah. A partner, like right. Sort of like a business partner there, that you can refer and make it happen. And so pretty much if you walk outside of your house and you see something and you're like, I wonder if Blue Wave Pools can do that. If it's outside, they probably can do it. They can make it happen, or they can get somebody to make it happen.
That's right. If I can't do it myself, I'd love to introduce you to somebody who can.
Yeah.
What helps me is when you just like you with the podcast and the things that you do, people that are in this industry, people
Absolutely.
that I will never know exist.
Right.
I wouldn't know what kind of microphone to go buy, or I wouldn't know what kind of software to go buy, but you do. So I'm going to call you. Hey, I need a microphone. I'm going to be doing some things. what kind of microphone should I buy?
Oh, yeah. And I'd talk to you for 15 minutes and you'd know more about microphones you ever cared to know.
That's right. So,
I'd be like geeking out with you. I'd be like, oh, this is what you want.
That's right. So you called me
we'd
up
be
and
into
say,
it.
hey, I want a screen in my patio. It's like, well, I don't do screens, but when I've done screens on projects with clients, I've used these guys.
Yeah.
They did a phenomenal job. We're very fair on their pricing, and I would use them personally.
Yeah.
And that carries a lot of weight with me.
Huge. Yeah. And if you're willing to kind of like go to bat for those people, guaranteed they're vetted and guaranteed that as a customer, you can trust that.
Well, yeah, and trust is a big deal. The thing I hear from people the most, people are so scared of getting taken advantage of because they're getting outside their comfort zone. Even when we're talking pools, I love when people get, 2 or 3 quotes and let me come in and let me explain what I do different. But people do that because they're so afraid of those horror stories that they hear.
Yes.
And if you just open in the book and say, well, here's a number, you don't know. There's stories all the time in the paper where the guy who came across very well, sounded very professional, wrote him a check, never saw him again.
Yeah.
And so to be able to call somebody and be like, hey, who do you trust? That's important.
It's very important, and it's very important that it's if you're in Livingston Parish, you want to deal with people in Livingston Parish, and primarily because if things happen every now and then, and if something does happen, there's somebody right there local that you can talk to about it. You don't have to go track somebody down and, may live in New Orleans or live in another area.
That's right. Or you just never see again anyway.
Or you never see again. And that happened a lot after the flood. Yep. Sadly, that was a really ugly experience. And you're right. It probably made people a little gun shy. And it's unfamiliar territory. It's like me with electricity, which is, I'm not great with electricity, Matt. Not great with electricity. Shot myself a few times in my life, but I'll tell you, it's unfamiliar, and so that makes it even a little more nervous because your guard's up. That's one reason why, again, this show for me is so important is it opens people's eyes to who you are as a person. I think that's important, especially when you're dealing with something like pools that, unless you're in the business, you probably don't know a whole lot about.
No, I agree with that because, when somebody hires me, they're not just buying a product because it's not like you're going to the store and I like that product, sell me that product.
Yeah.
It's a relationship. We're gonna do this together for the next 6 to 8 weeks. You're going to have questions. I constantly field questions. Last night the kids were in bed. I get a text from a client. Hey, I'm having some problems with my app. Okay, call her up. What's going on? And funny story. So this pool that we do, you can use your phone to operate it, and you can either do it from the house or you can remote into it. So one of the coolest things I tell people is like, hey, you guys, if you go out to dinner and you want to get in the spa when you get home, open your phone up, hit the button. It'll be hot when you get home. You can remote into it.
Oh, I need that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Love it.
It's nice. Well, she's home and it's just not working. I was like, well, so she called me up and we troubleshot for a few minutes, and I realized I built her pool at her new house and she still had the code on the pool at the old house. So she's hitting buttons and nothing's happening. Meanwhile, her owners of her previous house are watching things change. They're like, okay, so we need you to unplug from that app and we're going to get you into this.
They're thinking they got a ghost or something. Somebody's turning on the pool.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
So, but no, questions like that. I tell another story. I built a pool for a guy, and super nice guy. His children are all in high school, and they had a homecoming party there. Yeah. He calls me in a panic on a Saturday night, 9 p.m. Matt, nothing's working with the pool. I can't operate anything. The girls are all over here. I can't heat the spa. What is going on? So I get him on FaceTime and I see what's happened. And the panel has gotten put in a service mode, which is what you would do maybe when you're working on the pool. So maybe the pool guy came earlier and hit a button and didn't undo it.
Yeah.
So it was a quick, hey, hit that button, everything will be fine. So he hit that button, everything came to life, and the party went on. So we kind of rambled a little bit, but what I was talking about was relationship. You're not buying a product. You're forming a relationship that's going to be long lasting.
That's right. And a good point. And look, with relationships, referrals are probably huge in your specific business of pool building.
Enormous.
When somebody has a great experience, and they tell their friend who says, "I think I'm going to get a pool," oh, you need to call Matt. You need to call Blue Wave Pools.
And that happens so many times. We talked about somebody calling me and me referring somebody out. There's no better referral than they see that Blue Wave sign go up in the neighbor's yard.
That's right.
Almost invariably, you're going to see towards the end of the project, the neighbor's going to come over. So how was it?
Yeah, they're like peeking over as they walk down the street, and you know what they're doing. They're checking it out, and those things are huge. And you're right. There's no better compliment than someone saying, "Hey, my pool guy did a great job." And I say pool guy. I don't want to call you pool guy. You're pool builder guy.
Everybody calls me the pool guy. So I've thought about putting that on the license plate on the truck, just pool guy.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah. It'd be perfect. So let's talk about one thing that I learned today in our little pre-meeting was about flush spas. Yep. So I had someone reach out and they asked if you did flush spas, and I'm like, what is a flush spa? Tell us what that is.
So a flush spa is where the water elevation of the spa is almost exactly the same as the pool. So when you look at it, everything's at the same level.
Right.
This has a couple cool things about it. The water effect is really nice. When you first look at the pool, it looks like all one body of water. Your friends always ask, well, do you have to heat the entire pool to heat the spa? And the answer is no. Yeah. The way the system is designed, you can isolate the two bodies of water, but the appearance is that it's all one piece. What's nice about that is if you don't have a flush spa, if you have a raised spa, it's difficult to put, or really I think, not to say difficult, you shouldn't put the spa between the house and the pool if you have children, because it creates a blind spot in the pool.
Oh, good point.
And if your mom and dad want to hang out on the back porch, you don't want to have a big chunk of the pool you just can't see.
Right.
So those spas would move to other areas. You still get a nice waterfall out of them, but you don't put them. Now, a flush spa, not only do they look really cool, is you have nothing blocking your view of the pool. So you can sit on the back porch, hang out, watch the kids in the entire pool, and not have anything blocking your view.
Yeah, I need that too. I want a flush spa as well. That sounds awesome. And I've actually, now that we talked about it, I have been in flush spas, I guess, in several hotels that I've stayed in. So I always liked them. Yep. And I thought it was cool. It's like, hot here, and then you go like 4 feet that way, and it's not.
Well, and what's nice about it, and this is feedback from clients, is they love sitting in the spa, and you're in there, you're hot, you've been in there a little bit, get a little cold water and just kind of splash it in from the pool and cool yourself off, and then marinate a little more in the spa.
Yeah, all those things are good, and so you can get that as well. And we just brought up spas, so if you were wondering, do they do spas? Absolutely, you do, and they go with pools. Now, like peas and carrots that's it. As Forrest Gump would say.
And the cool thing about it is the way the system is set up, the way we do it, and the heater that we used. If you do a spa, the same heater can also heat the pool. So,
oh really?
Oh yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, we're coming up on Mother's Day. Everybody always wants to hear boil crawfish, swim in the pool.
Yeah,
and the water's always still ice cold.
Yeah.
So if you have a spa, you can use your heater, heat your pool up. Red Cross says 85 degrees is perfect swim temperature. Yeah. So you heat that pool up, everybody's swimming, having a good time, doing the thing. But I tell you what's funny is, the weather here is so crazy. This past New Year's Eve, everybody heated up their pools and swam because it was 75 degrees outside.
Isn't that something? Yeah, no doubt about it. And then probably 4 days later it was 30.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're in the spa at that point. So very good. Here's something everybody might find interesting, and I know this is a question from a lot of people, and that is, well, how much there is an investment there. There's no doubt about it, but how much does that increase maybe the value of your home? And I did some research, and actually, you put a pool in there, just and of course, again, this varies based off of the type of pool you have and the size and all these sorts of things. But it's about a 10% increase on average per pool, I guess, per house. That'll actually raise the value.
Right, and I would say clarify 10% of the home, not 10% of the pool.
Correct.
I've done jobs where we had a guy. He moved in from out of town. He bought a house, bought a beautiful home. Called me to build a pool and finished the pool. He lived there for a year, and work called him away. Well, when he sold his home, he got every dollar he spent back on the pool. And awesome. People say, well, I was during it. I was like, no. Here's 2 weeks ago, I built a pool for a guy, and about a year later, some family property became available. So he wanted to sell his home, move to the family property, and build his forever home out there.
Yeah.
So he sold his house. First offer came in well over asking price because he's the guy in the neighborhood that has the nice gunite pool.
Yep.
So they definitely do add value. And I'll say that's a difference between gunite and other types of pools. Usually if you go up to somebody who's built a vinyl liner pool, you're going to,
I just see maintenance, when I think of those.
That's right. It's going to be time to change the liner soon. That's kind of where you made your decision of, do I want to go swimming or do I want to make something that's going to look fantastic and be, just that top shelf product out in the backyard.
Yeah. And it may even, if you're selling your home and you have like a gunite pool, that may be the difference. Some people seek that out. So they're like, yeah, we got to have a pool and it's got to be gunite. And so you're already ahead of the game. It may even sell your house faster.
Well, the reason that one, it was great because the guy had 3 kids and his particular yard, we were working in a tight space and didn't really have enough room. Tanning ledges are super popular. That's kind of the shallow area where, you put the layout chairs and things like that. This particular location just did not have enough room to take up that much space of the pool. So what we did was we built a 3-foot bench the entire length of the pool, and the kids just ran up and down. So the guy buying the house sees it, it's like, this is perfect for my kids. So it's just you can't buy that with a kid.
That's right. I agree 100%. And one more question for you on that front. As far as questions from listeners, someone asked, and again, this I already know the answer to this, but foliage around pools. Some people want. I don't know, what are those trees from Hawaii or whatever, like the coconut trees or palm trees or whatever, coconut trees. They want freaking trees. Right. So tell us about that.
So the software that I use, they make a couple different versions of it.
Yeah.
And of course, the version that I use is more geared towards building swimming pools and houses and things like that. I work with some great landscapers. I can actually, if somebody wants to do all the big landscaping around the pool, we can lay out the areas, but again, not my core expertise. So what I would do is connect them with those people. I could send them the design. They could open the design in their software, and then it's more landscaping based. So they can get just as detailed as I am on the pool side, on the landscaping side.
Love it.
And I posted some things on my Facebook page where we had the complete 3D rendering with all the landscape, computer modeling, and then here are the pictures of what we built. And it's nice to be able to walk around it before you ever dig the hole and see this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah. And look, y'all, if you're listening right now on like Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you listen, this is going to be kind of like a visual episode. So I want you to, even if you listen, definitely go to YouTube and check out the video version because we're going to be popping up pictures as we talk of everything we discussed. So that way you can kind of see that and get a good visualization of, pools and flush spas and all those things that we're talking about on the show. Let me ask you, how big a deal has social media been for you? Been a good
it's enormous
avenue.
Everybody, just like you mentioned, everybody wants to see pictures. Facebook is really good. If you look at swimming pools, you're going to start seeing lots of swimming pools on your Facebook feed. So people are sharing the projects that we're building. They're sharing the projects we're building. They can kind of see some pictures, get some ideas. But social media, not something that I think I personally. I guess the best way to say is just gravitate to. Like, some people and everybody's got their own way of doing things. And I guess personally I'm a little more private, but business-wise, love putting pools out there, love talking to clients, and just kind of showing everybody what we do.
Yeah, very good. And a huge outlet for you. Look, what you do is visual, right? And when people see it and they fall in love with it, they act on it. And so that's a very good thing. Service area?
If you dropped a pin on Denham Springs and drew a circle of about an hour, that's going to be us. So we've gone, of course, Clinton, Pride. We're working in La Ranger right now. New Roads, Geismar, Ponchatoula, Springfield. Of course, Denham Springs. Our core area, Denham Springs, Central, Ascension Parish. But we drop a pin, draw. We'll drive for an hour and come build you.
Very good, very good. And look, website Blue Wave Pools. It's bluewavepools.net.
It's bluewavepoolsla.net.
LA.net. Okay. And we're going to tag that, y'all, in the description of this video. Just if you're driving or listening or whatever and you don't have a pen to write it down, just go down the description. We're going to have not only your website, but your Facebook. We're going to have that in there. So you definitely want to go give him a like on Facebook. And, we've been going an hour and it's been fun.
Awesome.
Awesome talking about pools. Anything else you can think of or?
Nothing offhand.
I think we covered it all, man. Yeah. Now we just need people to come give you a ring and look, let's cover that. How do they get in touch?
So the best way to contact me is through my cell phone, 225-324-9615.
There you go.
Love text. A lot of times what I do, because, one thing, if you call me and we set up a time, I'm not going to send a salesman to you. I'm going to come see you. I'm going to sit down with you and I'm going to design your pool with you. While I'm doing that, that's generally about an hour and a half meeting. I don't want to be that guy that's constantly answering my phone while I'm trying to spend time with you. So if you call me and I don't answer you, a lot of times it's because I'm in a meeting with somebody drawing a pool. Shoot me a text, leave me a voicemail. As soon as I get out, I return all my calls. But it's very important to me to be the guy that's in there with the client and designing and talking about what's going to make their pool. Part of that process means I'm not paying a secretary to answer the calls all the time. When you call, you get me. So, give me a moment. I'll call you right back and I'll come and see you.
Very good. So please do that. And we appreciate y'all watching and listening. Look, 14,000 almost viewers on YouTube alone on a weekly basis and more on the audio platforms. We couldn't do any of this without all of y'all. It's very, very important that we spotlight our private family-owned businesses in our communities. And we just appreciate the heck out of y'all for listening and all that. Matt, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You run a great business, man. We're proud to have you on, proud to feature you. And if you are in the market for an in-ground pool or you want to improve your outdoor space, whatever, give Matt a call. We're going to link everything you need in the description, the audio and video of this podcast. And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman, reminding you, love your community, support local business, and keep leading. Thanks for coming on, Matt. Appreciate you.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.